it.
Boom,
Oof. Okay.
boom.
Boom, 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 boom.
I love it.
You in my
Mm,
room. Okay, no.
mm, mm, mm.
I'm losing it. I just can't wait till the point of my day where I can just lay down because I haven't done that yet. Well, I haven't done that since I woke up. So
Oh,
I am ready to lay down.
me
I'm
too.
doing a lot of laying down. I also need new icy hot packs on my back.
Oh, Fridays are always my longest day, so I'm always tired on Friday evening because it's like I've been running around
Running
and doing
around.
things all day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. It's all good
No,
though. It's all good.
no, I shouldn't be complaining, but I'm going to. I'm tired.
Yeah, you need a
But
break. You need a rest. Rest that back.
I'm gonna
Rest
rest my
that
back.
back.
But I think the next time we do a recording, I will have a proper well, I guess this is technically a proper desk chair, but a proper for my needs desk chair because Jesus got me a new desk chair for my birthday.
Oh,
So it arrives tomorrow, and then I got inline wheels for it, and they come on Monday. Because the inline wheels are nicer. They're
is
like
it
not as
that
loud.
big old
That
chair that
big,
you sent me? Yes.
it's
Yeah.
hopefully it's huge because it's supposed to be for people that are like 400 pounds and tall. So
Yes,
I want it
exactly.
to just like envelop me.
Mhm, mhm.
I
It's
want
going
you
to.
to next time you see me, like you're gonna be like, "Where is she? Is she in that chair?"
Swallowed up by the chair.
That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping to look like a tiny person because I'm in this enormous chair,
Oh, I'm gonna love it so much. I'm gonna love it so much. Okay.
and that hopefully my back likes it, and it'll make
Yeah.
it easier to do all the things that we do
Well, it
at
looks
this
so
desk of
cushiony.
mine.
It looks
I
so cushiony. I
know.
can't imagine it doesn't just feel absolutely fantastic.
I better feel amazing. I'm gonna be really upset if it doesn't.
Yeah, right? It's like, what a letdown. No,
I will
I'm rooting for you.
say, as a little follow-up to the car conversation, I think that the RAV4 for my body is quite comfortable because I was so uncomfortable yesterday, and it didn't bother my back while I was driving it. So,
Fantastic.
I think that that was a good that was like a I was worried about test driving cars with
Yeah.
their, like, back problems. It was like, "Oh, what am I gonna
Yeah.
get? Am I gonna even get anything good? Am I the best judge?" And it was actually quite comfy
Yeah. I would say
for a
you were
car.
probably it was probably a blessing that you were having back issues because you
I
would
think
have known right
so.
off the break, like, oh no, this is not gonna work.
This is
This
the
is
worst thing
you
for
know what I
me.
mean? So that was probably a good thing.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But this
Yeah.
means that we can well, I don't know how I have a car payment, but this means that we'll have to put our little noggins together and so there can be another Naomi and Alyssa
Yes.
go book shopping extravaganza. So,
Well, we still have to do
maybe
that book
early twen
trail that you showed me, like, I don't know, 3 years ago? Remember
Oh,
that book
yeah,
trail
up
you
through New York.
Yes.
I know. That's gonna be expensive though, because we 'cause we're gonna have to, like, stay somewhere.
Well, maybe that's a 2025 thing. We should definitely look into
Yeah,
it.
but so 2025, Naomi and I are gonna go on an adventure. When? Where? To be determined.
To be determined. TBD, TBD, TBD. Okay. Anyway,
Mhm.
hello, what have you been reading lately?
So, it's October. I don't know if you knew that.
Indeed it
Um,
is.
and in October, people apparently read Victorian novels,
Mhm.
and
Victo
I never participate in Victober because I'm not like a huge Victorian literature fan. There's
Yeah.
specific people I read, but I decided that I wanted to at least read something. So I picked up from my shelves. I've had this for a while. Audley's Secret. I always want to put an R in there. Audley's Secret, and I am quite far into it, not that you can tell because I had to switch it over to my Kindle because I can't really hold books right now, not for a long time. Sitting and, like, reading is very uncomfortable. Um, I am sort of obsessed with this book, and I'm, like, annoyed that I keep falling asleep while I'm reading because, like, the muscle relaxers will kick in or, like, I didn't sleep well the night before, so, like, like, you get, like, too comfy and then suddenly I'm like, um and I realize that I've fallen asleep, and I I am in because I need to know how this ends. So this is like, kind of a sensation, like, I think what do they call it? Like a sensationalist novel? I'm not, like,
Mhm.
big on, like, the Victorian novel terms, but it's a mystery, kind of like a Wilkie Collins, where
Okay.
you have this woman who is, like, super beautiful, everyone loves her, she looks really innocent, she marries this man, he's very wealthy, she's very young, she's about the same age as his daughter, and people then you also have this other man who you meet who's coming back from Australia, and he's very excited to find his wife. He finds out, like, the day he arrives, he finds out that his wife is dead. It's, like, in the newspaper,
Mhm.
and his friend, who happens to be the cousin of this other lady's husband, is they rekindle their relationship, like, their friendship, and that brings them all into orbit, and it has become clear that the dead woman may not be who they think it is, and she may not be who she says she is. And it's kind of like it's obvious that she is the dead lady, but also you're like, it can't be that obvious. There has to be more to this story. There's so much more to this story. Like, what happened? Things were just getting bonkers. I'm at like 70, 80% of the way through. So things are getting bonkers. Like, so now
Mm.
she is revealing some secrets. Mrs. Lady Audley is revealing some secrets, and they are getting juicier by the second, and then the Flexeril kicked in, and I fell asleep. So I have to get back to this today, because I need to know what happens. I need to know what happens, and it's like, and it's just it's like a just a fun ride. It's a romp, as you said last time. It's a romp. Like, things keep happening. She's starting to, like, cover her tracks, but she's not as, like, clever as she thinks she is, so they don't cover the way she wants them to, and this guy's like a barrister, but when you meet him, this cousin that's finding out all this stuff because his friend goes missing is, like, the big thing that happens, otherwise he wouldn't care, like, basically, they all go to the house where the lady lives, and things are awkward, and then shortly after that, his friend disappears. And so
Oh.
he's convinced that she's murdered her former husband and to maintain her life that she has now. And he's trying to unravel this mystery. He is a barrister, but he was never a barrister that did anything. Like, he was just like a rich guy who, like, is a barrister to have some direction in his life, but he never really, like, he never had a trial. He never did anything. Like, he didn't need to, So, like, he was just kind of like a pet project of us. But now suddenly all of his barrister training is to go
Oh.
needs this investigator, and it's
This
fun.
sounds fun.
It's so much fun. There's little, like, he goes and he meets with, like, servants and these people and that people, and I'm having a good time. It's not like a stodgy Victorian novel, and I'm really enjoying
Yeah.
myself, and it almost feels a little Columbo in the sense that, like, she did it. Like, you do. You just don't know, like, how. You don't know all the
Right.
details. You're just like, I want the full story. Like, what happened here? Give me there's pieces to this puzzle, and I need them. I need them. I can see what's happening, but the picture's not complete. I want the full picture. So,
That sounds lovely.
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying myself. What
Wow.
have you been reading?
Well, remember when I said I accidentally started a book club over on Instagram when I created that broadcast channel?
Naomi accidentally started her own book club.
Welcome to the Chunky Books Club. So we're reading Black River Orchard by my guy. You know I love me some Chuck Wendig.
Do love some chocolate.
Love him. So this is our October read. And this is a nice chunky book. I am having a good time with this story. So I am 200 pages in, and this father and his daughter, they have this orchard, and he's been trying to grow an apple. Okay, these apples. So he finally grows his apple, and he's like, "This is the one. This is it. It is the perfect apple." So they go to this fair or whatever, like a farmer's market, and he's got all the apples, and he needs a name for it. And his daughter, who very much wants to be like a social media influencer, and is very good at marketing, she comes up with a name for it, and she calls it the Ruby Slipper. And so where they were placed in this farmers market, people really weren't seeing where their table was. So she had the brilliant idea of just handing out free apples, which he was opposed to at first, but then agreed.
Mhm.
And people just they swarmed the table. Everybody wants these apples. And what we begin to see is a
What's
little
in the
later on,
apples?
well, the thing is, what we start to notice, well, what the daughter starts to notice is how when people eat one apple, they just want to devour them all. It's like an insatiable hunger comes over them with wanting to devour these apples. And then people start acting really, really strange, just really weird. s- you can't really put your finger on it. You don't know really what's going on, but like there's definitely a shift in people's personalities.
Mhm.
It's very off-putting. And I don't think I should spoil anymore. And that's kind of where I am, where she's just starting, the daughter starting to reveal, because she hasn't eaten the apple, but she's noticed
Mhm.
everyone else is eating the apple, how they can't stop eating them, and how they have changed. And it's starting to feel very sinister, and it's getting real weird, and I am 1000% here for it. So this book is over 600 pages long, so I still got like 400 pages to go, so plenty of pages to kind of flesh out what's going on, but like I'm in it. I'm enjoying every minute of it. Black River
What did
Orchard
they
by Chuck Wendig.
she named them ruby slippers?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting because there's, like, the story of, like, the red slippers or the dance of the red slippers, something like that, where she puts on these red point shoes and can't stop
And can't
dancing.
stop. Hmm.
Mhm. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Very
So
interesting. Well, everybody go join Naomi's accidental book club if you enjoy a chunky
a
read.
chunky books. That's what we're doing.
Maybe if you I don't know what you would read that I would read it with you, but I also have to join your broadcast channel so that I can find out so I can keep up with your doings and see when I wanna join you.
It's fun. It's fun. So we'll see.
Mhm.
That's the read. I'm loving it.
Excellent. I'm loving it.
All
Okay.
right, tell the people what we're doing on this episode.
On this episode of TBR Lowdown, I need to get a better radio voice. On this episode of TBR Lowdown, we will discuss Margot's Got Money Trouble by Rufi Thorpe. This book was just fun, and I want to say thank you to William Morrow for sending me a copy of it. I think this was on my anticipated reads list for whatever time of year it came
It was
out.
on mine.
So this was fun. This was a good time. I did not
So
read The Knockout Queen. Did you read The Knockout
I
Queen?
did not. I did not, but now I might.
So this is an incredibly funny, fast-paced story, um, contemporary novel about a young woman who gets impregnated by her professor, and how she figures out how to raise a baby as a single mother with no job and really very little life support.
Okay.
Uh, but it's also a story that is incredibly pro sex work. It's a story about sort of, finding support in what you would normally think is unlikely places.
Yeah.
Um, she has to rely on her father, who has not always been, like, the most reliable person in her life, and he is battling his own demons, but he turns out to be one of the best, like, rocks she has.
Yeah.
Um and she does grow up fast. I did watch one review where someone says this isn't a coming of age novel, but it sure as heck feels like it. It really does feel like a coming of age
Mhm.
novel. I think that there's the young coming of age, but there's something that happens in your early 20s when you actually have to step into being an adult,
Yeah.
and she has to step into being an adult. She cannot be she's very much no longer a child, a young adult without responsibility. She has to step up and make something out of her life, and she does it unconventionally, and she stands her ground about doing it unconventionally, and she does it with like integrity, and it is so good, and it's just a good time. It's a really great book.
It's so entertaining. I
Mhm.
had the best time reading this. I was sitting on my balcony. I had the Libro FM LC playing in my ear while
The
reading
audiobook
this
is
book.
really good.
Yeah, while reading this book with my alternative coffee. And I read it in a day. It was just so fun. And if you
Oh
all
yeah.
don't know, this book got an Apple TV straight to series order. Straight to
Oh
series
yeah.
order. I think Elle Fanning is going to be playing Margot. I think Nicole Kidman's playing the mother. I am very excited because this is very much made for TV.
It is. It does read very cinematically, and
Yeah.
it also is very timely in a lot of
Oh
ways.
yes.
It so to spoil or not spoil what she does, she was originally a waitress like many of us are in our youth. I was not because I would be a terrible waitress, but, she loses her job because she just can't handle having a baby and working. She has there's no support. There's,
Yeah. She
nothing,
can
right?
find
Uh,
childcare.
which also highlights a huge problem for a lot of people that
Yeah.
how do you have children and earn money and support your children and yourself and do all this in a world where there is nothing set up to help you? Um, and if you don't have your own community built in, which is easy to have that be your reality, you're sort of screwed. So she does lose her job, and I kinda don't like that they did that to her, but I get why. They
Yeah.
do need someone more reliable, but it's kinda dick. But anyway,
Yeah.
she stumbles into OnlyFans, and she is actually a very clever writer, and it
Yep.
starts with, like, this silly thing of reviewing reviewing men's penises and, like, writing these really witty descriptions of their and literary descriptions of
Yes.
their weens, and it just goes on from there, and it's not just that she starts an OnlyFans, she takes her boobs out and she makes money. No, there's a lot of, um, thought
And
and
planning. Yeah.
creativity and
Mhm.
planning and having like a really brilliant marketing mind,
Right.
and it shows the other side of sex work. There's the side that, maybe gets a lot more of attention because it gets vilified, but
Yeah.
the actual work, the talent, the struggles, that go into doing that to make a living and support yourself.
Yeah.
And I really that. There's also some really funny moments, and she finds family through that,
Mhm.
um, through collaborating with other creators,
Yeah.
and it's oh, I love it.
And
So let's
we
talk
should
about
say, like, in the beginning, we get to see what life is like with her, and her mother, before she
oh,
even found out, that she was pregnant. Her mom is her mom loves
selfish
her.
bitch,
She loves her, but she is
a selfish bitch.
something else. Yeah, she is. She is. When she tells her mother she's pregnant, that goes over fine. But then when the baby's here, she is not exactly, up for helping her to care for that child when she has to go to work. That was part of the reasons why she got fired. Her mother was basically like, You come get this baby right now. I'm going to bring this baby to your job," which she did. So she wasn't very supportive in that manner. And we knew early on that yes, she had a dad, but he had not really been active in her life for a while. Um, but luckily, he answers the call.
Yep,
She needs him, and he answers the call. And I gotta
he
tell
steps
you,
up.
he steps up majorly, and he was such a bright spot in this story for me. I loved him. and he had his own struggles. He was, going through a divorce or whatever, and he's an addict, and so he's struggling, with that. But the fact that he showed up really made all the difference in her life with this new baby.
Mhm.
He was the support system and the protector that she needed. So he's great. What was his name? Jinx? Was that his name?
Yeah.
And he
Yeah,
was
and she, like,
a wrestler.
creates this he was a pro wrestler, but not, like, on WWE,
But
and
very
I think this is,
popular,
like but
right?
very popular. They make a case for him not being, like, Hulk Hogan. He is somebody else, but
Right.
he's got, like, his own following. He's got he does struggle with addiction. He also has a lot of, like, things that make him struggle with addiction.
Hmm.
There's a lot of people that have been injured and hurt and can easily become addicted to things that are given to you to make you feel better. Um, and what I think is really funny is that she ends up creating this unlikely family,
Yeah.
um, of people that help her raise her child because
Hmm.
her dad steps up. She has this sort of strange roommate that
Hmm.
kind of steps up too.
She
And
does.
this weird family of her and her dad and this random friend help raise this child.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if they're friends, this is a random roommate. Like,
Yeah.
I guess they become friends, but, it's not like you and I are raising a baby now.
Right,
It's
exactly, exactly, and they have their own little rhythm, and it's really quite lovely to watch how they're all maneuvering, the rearing of this child. It's great. It's really great.
It says a lot for, non-traditional, not untraditional, non-traditional family, and that a
Yeah,
family is basically any unit that chooses to be a family.
yep,
Because family isn't always who you're related to. It's not always who you made the baby with. It's not even like who birthed you. It's like the people that are there for you when it matters.
mhm.
Um, and I mean, I think this teacher was always absolutely creepy. um,
Yes,
he was just such a, like, and I get the sense that I don't know. So he just read, like, a man who was, like, hot enough and, like, interesting enough that his pool of people, young 20 somethings,
right,
would find him alluring, right? And that just
yep,
built his little ego to a massive size in his head, and I just feel like he'd be a terrible fuck.
yeah, just the worst lay ever.
He would just be
And
looking at himself in the mirror the whole
yeah,
time. It
yeah,
would be awful.
the most awful, the most awful. But also, he
It's
was
not
raised by a
even
pretty
worth it.
awful woman. His mother was freaking
I mean,
terrible.
his parents were terrible,
I mean,
but
my goodness.
I'm kinda glad, though, that the parents wrote her out of his life because
Yeah,
she's better off without him
sure.
because he's useless. He's a
Yeah.
useless human being because he is also selfish. He's just like his mother
Yes.
her mother.
Mhm.
I did not like her mother,
I didn't either. I didn't either. I
and
didn't either.
her mother strikes me as somebody who cannot see their own faults at all, and
Oh,
so
right.
she is incapable of keeping her mouth shut about everybody else's faults, and
Yeah.
I do not like people like that, so
Yeah, she's
I
always
didn't know.
seeking to be superior. That's what she
Yeah,
wants to be superior. She wants to be important. Um, yeah,
and she does
she was a
things
disaster.
and she does things under the guise of "I'm helping" that
Right.
only make matters worse, and
Yeah.
those kinds of people, I just wanna kick them in their shins, like,
Yeah.
you're a terrible person.
Yeah.
Just mind your business.
That's it. That's all
Mind
you
your
gotta do. Mind your
fucking
business.
business.
That's it. Because she was something else. And I just knew, when she married that guy, I was like, she's gonna really be a pain in our ass now. And she did something, yeah, that her and her husband cooked up that really put Margot in the worst position ever. I mean, again, like, you're her mother. Let's try not acting like the enemy, you know? But
No, she is enemy number 1.
he was enemy number one. So that was very disheartening. But we should also say that Margot was very smart. She was in college, obviously. That's hooking up with the professor. She was very smart, and it was only because of this. thing that she signed with her professor's parents where she had to leave school, but she was very smart, had a lot of potential. And
I
you
mean, she
can
was
see
super
her
smart.
using her smarts with
Yeah.
her OnlyFans business. She made quite the pretty penny by doing what she was doing.
Oh, yeah.
Um, really learn how to sustain herself. So she's got the smarts there. She's got the smarts.
I mean, truthfully, as I walk around work and I've just dealt with something truly disgusting or heartbreaking or exhausting or all 3, I often think, "Why did I not strip?" Like, because in all honesty, it's not that these things aren't work. It's not that, like, having a very successful OnlyFans or having a very successful, sex work career, period, isn't work. It's that the amount of money that you can make
Yeah.
and on your own terms,
Yeah.
and you decide you decide your things.
Yeah.
There's just something very wonderful about that. Because if I'm going to
Mhm.
be sort of degraded or abused at work or have to deal with uncomfortable things, I want them to be of my own choosing, and I would like to get paid a lot to do it,
Absolutely. Absolutely. For sure. Yeah.
or I'd rather just stay home. But no, but she I
Exactly.
mean, she used a lot of her talent, and she does have, like, oh, she's incredibly witty, she's a skilled writer, and she finds a way to incorporate that into a really wonderful for career for herself. She incorporates that ability to create story and create engaging story to create these collabs and work with these other creators, to drum up business for both all 3 of them. I think there's 3 of them,
Yeah.
right?
It's great.
And it's so inspiring to watch her find herself in this career, um, gain confidence, make money, take care of her
Yeah.
kid, um, grow up, find solid footing, and like learn who she can rely on and trust. It's like she's doing so much, and she has to. I think that probably happens to a lot of single mothers,
Yeah.
especially if you start off as a single mother. You have to figure stuff out so fast,
Yep.
and there's so much growing up that happens in, like, a blink, right?
Yeah.
Or it should be happening, hopefully, in
Mhm.
a blink,
Absolutely. Yeah.
because 'cause I'm sure there's people who don't, because there's always people who don't.
Right.
But, it's just so wonderful to see, and when forces come in to ruin that, like, back to the shin kicking, like, I don't
Ugh.
know.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is she is really smart, and she really is
Yes.
comp she really isn't you saw in when she's challenged by those challenges, you saw just how, um, strong she is as a mother, as a person,
Mhm.
as, uh, like, a proponent for sex work, um, and you get that as a reader, the amount of, like I think one of the big takeaways from this book is this pro-sex work
Yeah.
message that
For
it
sure.
doesn't make you a bad mother. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't put you anywhere on the scale of less than anything else. It's hard work. It takes smarts. It takes creativity. It takes all kinds of stuff
Right.
to be successful at these things. And it's just as much work as almost anything else.
And this is what her child's father tried to use against her, the fact that she had an OnlyFans account, and he tried to make
Mhm.
it seem like it was something so dirty and that she was going to be exposing their child to all of these gross sexual things that this child had no business being around or seeing or hearing about. And she really had to make the case that this is not what you think, and what
Nope.
I'm doing doesn't make me a terrible mother. As a matter of fact, this has given me the ability to be
To
with my
be.
child most of the day. I am
Yeah.
here, I am present. And so I really love how they played that out,
Mhm.
because you can imagine how this is used against women in sex work who are parents, how it's used against
Yeah.
them all the time, how CPS comes into your life and tries to take your children away because you are a sex worker. So I love how they played that out. Like it wasn't this like quick little two-page thing. Like it played out for a while, and I thought that was really important.
Yeah. I actually ended up really changing my thoughts on the CPS worker because as you're reading it in the beginning, you're like, "This bitch." Um, but by the time you get the final verdict,
Yeah,
it's very validating, um, and it's also kind of understandable. You know, you these people that have jobs like this, you have to approach certain things in certain ways,
right.
um, but it was really lovely to see, I guess, rational thought uh, win out, right?
Yeah.
And all of that in the story. So that obviously this does have a happy ending, um, which is good. You know, we want that.
Yes.
But I would say that I think this father is the father of this child is the worst parent for the kid. I
Yeah.
mean, he's not a good man. I mean, his own wife
Mhm.
is like, sir. Um,
Right.
you know, he has his own kids that he does, I guess, stuff for, maybe. He doesn't really show much interest in this child until he must. Um,
Right.
and then it was almost just like a power play, not an actual desire to be the father. And like that doesn't show good character. That's not a good father. That's not the person you want
Right.
raising
But
a
also
child.
driven still driven by his mother. Like you're a
Mhm.
grown man and mommy is still coming in to like fix your mistakes. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like you're a grown man, but you can't even take enough control and charge over your own life. Your mother is still doing things for you to clean up your messes as if you were a teenager.
Yep.
So what do you have to teach our son when your mommy is still taking care of you like every level of your life? So he was ridiculous, and I really hated his mother so much too. I just
Honestly,
really
I
liked
think
Jinx in terms of the parents. Jinx was my
I was
favorite.
I was gonna go back to the dad because I think what really was the worst thing for Margot in terms of, like, CPS and everything wasn't even the obvious issues that you could draw up with her sex work. It was actually her father's addiction
Hmm.
and how addicts are looked at, and how that struggle of, like, even if he goes to treatment and he's on methadone, he's still gonna spike for opioids,
Yep.
and that alone is, like, a no-no
Yep. The rules are dumb.
under the rules, right? The
Hmm.
rules are like, you can't have anybody who's testing any in these scenarios, and it's like, how does somebody getting clean is hard enough, right?
Yes.
And then how does somebody get clean and stay clean when you have to come up against these contradictory rules where it's like, you know, "Oh, I need you to be in program." Okay, but being in program means I do this. "Oh, well, you can't do that because that then means that." And
Yep.
you just spiral in this snake eating its own tail kind of thing, and so I there's a lot of semi-controversial things that
Hmm.
are being talked about in here, and I really like how what's Rufi Thorpe, I don't remember her last name, tackles them, and how she and isn't afraid to shine a light on the fact that, yes, there are negative aspects to this, but they are not the monolith of what somebody struggling with addiction is like. There's still
Right.
people that care and, have families, and they love and support each other, and they are more than just an addiction. Sex workers are more than just bodies that do sex work, you know, there's more, so I really enjoyed this. I think it was a great book.
Yeah. It
I
was
mhm,
fantastic. I just had so much fun reading it, and again, absolutely made for TV. It was
yeah.
made for TV.
It's
So,
very much made for TV, it's juicy, it's fast, it's
mhm.
fun, and it, like, has
It's
it
heartwarming too.
it'll
Very
it will
heartwarming.
make very heartwarming. It will make you it will it will put issues in front of you without making it heavy or, like, in your face, and will just get you thinking about some things, um,
Yeah.
but you're also gonna read a lighthearted story. Um,
She has a good balance, right? Of like
mhm.
giving levity to what's really heavy. Because, like, look, in real life, this would be terrifying if you were going through this. It would be absolutely
Oh, yeah.
terrifying. It would not be fun. But Thorpe manages to lighten this a little bit so that you can like really find a little bit of
Joy?
enjoyment out of the story. Yeah. So I really love how she did this. She gave us lots of moments of levity by
Yeah.
balancing it with the new friendships and this new family that they were creating, and the highs of the relationship between Margot and her dad. Like, all of those things added to the levity of this situation, which I really appreciated.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a fantastic book. I think if you're gonna be, like, hopping on a flight somewhere, if you're gonna be
Oh
sitting on a beach,
yeah.
if you've
Yeah.
got a long train ride, just read this book. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I listened to it predominantly, and I was, like, cleaning the house, and I was just like, "Ooh, ooh, ooh, ooh,"
Yeah.
because it was just
So good.
good. And I would like, it's the kind of book you get involved in where like, when you find yourself either externally or internally screaming at the characters,
Mhm, mhm.
you're gonna do that. She crafts, like, really great engaging characters and a really engaging story, and I very much enjoy this.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's a little under 300 pages, so it's, like, super short. This is definitely like a one-day read, you know what I mean? So good.
Yeah, yeah. So go
I'm
pick it up.
excited for the adaptation. I'm very excited to see how that's gonna play out. It's Apple TV, and they kinda don't miss, so I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. So go pick up
Pick up,
Margot's Got Money Trouble.
pick it up, pick it up. Ooh, it matches
I
my
can't even see
background.
yours. I was gonna say yours, I can't even see there. Oh, yours is book
Matches
of the
my
month?
Yes.
I haven't seen a
Look,
book of the month in Naomi's hands in a long time, so that's why I'm
it's
like, "Oh."
listen, it's been over a year. It's been over a year, so, I just keep it on pause.
Oh, yeah. I
I just
got,
keep it
like
on pause.
I got, like, 2 or 3 books a couple months back because they had a bunch that I really liked, and then I just have been ignoring them again
Yeah,
because I haven't been
yeah,
enjoying their selections.
yep, but I feel like once a year they'll give me something that I like. Like, I
Every so
think
often.
yeah, yeah,
I'm mad that they don't have anything interesting this month because I think I get an extra book for my birthday, but
yes, yeah, we'll
but
see.
anyway, I didn't like this month. But anyway, if you've read it, we'd love to know your thoughts on Margot's Got Money Trouble. You can always comment on the video or on our Instagram, Discord, join the
Mhm.
broadcast channel. Not that you
Yes.
can comment there, but join it
No, you
because
can. They can
I
reply.
can. They can?
Yeah, they can reply.
Oh,
Mhm.
well, if you can reply, feel free to reply.
Yeah.
Um, we're gonna try to spend some more time on there. And just kind of beef up the interaction when we talk about books and things on this little podcast of ours. But this isn't the time for housekeeping. This is the time for book recommendations.
Yeah.
What you got, madam?
I've got Mina's Matchbox by Yuko Agawa,
Hmm.
the author of The Memory Police, which was very good. Read it. You know, I enjoyed this book, and I'm really not sure why, but I just enjoyed it. So,
And that's my
Tamako,
recommendation.
Tamako, our main character, is 12, and she is leaving her mother behind in Tokyo. Her mom is doing some life things, getting herself together or whatever, and she's going to stay with her aunt and their family. And she has a cousin who's around the same age as her, and her name is Mina. Everything about how they live is just so different from Tamako, from their environment, their home, just them as a family, just very different from how she lives. But she finds that she's able to build a nice little relationship with Mina. Mina, at some point, shares with Tamako that she likes collecting matchboxes. And Tamako is very intrigued by this. To Mina takes these matchboxes and like writes little stories on the inside of them. So she's basically writing like little short stories in these matchboxes and collecting them. And she
Hmm.
allows Tamako to read them all. So they have this little, because no one knows about it, only Tamako. So they have this little secret going on. And she's got a deal with one of the delivery men that comes to deliver stuff to their home. Whenever he's out and about and finds a really interesting, unique matchbox, he brings it to her. So every week she's looking forward to his arrival because she knows he's going to have some kind of a cool matchbox for her. And Tomako's
Mhm.
excited because she knows that when Mina gets that matchbox, she's going to write an incredible story. So they have this special little relationship where, Mina's writing these stories in these matchboxes secretly and then letting Tomako read them. And it's really kind of sweet and interesting. And there are other things happening in this story with the family, but I honestly didn't find that as interesting as this sweet relationship between these two cousins, and Mina's love for stories and wanting to capture them and put them in these matchboxes. I just thought that was really lovely. And I read this book fairly quickly, and it was very nice. And I, just read it, just give it a try. Like nothing really happens. You know what I mean? Like we're
Read
pretty much
it.
in this family's home with Tamako and Mina, but it's just very nice. It's just very lovely, and I enjoyed it. That's Mina's Matchbox by Yoko Ogawa.
Sounds like it's very different than Memory Place.
Oh, very different. Very
So
different.
it's probably important to keep that in mind when you're going
Yes.
into it. I haven't read that one
Yes.
because I've been scared to read anything else by them because I
There's
love the Memory
nothing
Place
intense
so
here.
much.
Yeah, there's nothing intense going on here. There's nothing, where like it's just very calm. It's very calm and very sweet.
Okay. Well, this is like a ta like Victober adjacent because it's not
Mm,
Victorian, but it touches on Victorian setting, okay?
okay.
And this is my first no, this is my second ever Persephone's book. I love them. Like, look at
They're
these end
beautiful.
papers. Look at
I
them.
love
If you
them.
can't see the video,
Oh,
go to the YouTubes and watch them. Beautiful pages, right?
beautiful.
Love, love. I don't get a little bookmark because we don't live in the UK and I don't get to go to Bath and buy them there. I just spend an obscene amount of money on them
Yeah.
here.
Mhm.
So, this is the Victorian Chaise Lounge by Marginita Lasky. I may have said that wrong. So the premise of Persephone books is that they republish like forgotten works from like the 1800s and 1900s, predominantly written by women, but I think there's a couple books written by men. Um, but they're
Mm,
all like these beautiful like, simple cover well, no, they do have some fancier covers, but, like, most of them are this, like, simple blue cover with these
yeah.
phenomenal end papers. And it feels like the kinda catalog that's gonna be, like, hit or miss. Um, and this one was really interesting. So this is kind of a spookier tale. It is set in post-war London, and you're following this woman, Melly, who is she is recovering from tuberculosis, but also from childbirth.
Okay.
So she found out when she was pregnant that she had tuberculosis, and thanks to modern medicine, didn't die or anything. Um, but she obviously had a long road to recovery, and she couldn't be by her child, right? 'Cause she didn't want to give the kid tuberculosis. And so she's been sort of cooped up in her home, this very nice home. They're well to do, they're a young couple, they're madly in love. Um, and she's been cooped up in her room for a really long time, and she's badgering the doctor at the beginning of the story. She's like, "I just can't stay in here anymore." And he's like, "Well, you're too sick. You need to keep relaxing. I know you feel well, but you're gonna be really tired soon. So, like, you still need to rest. You're gonna have these bursts of energy, but you still need to rest." And they finally agree that they're gonna move her downstairs, and she's gonna set up base camp on this disgustingly hideous Victorian chaise lounge they have in their, like, living room that looks out on a different view of the home. So
Mm,
she can have a new view, but she still has to kinda, like, rest, right? So you learn a little bit about how she finds this chaise lounge. She and her husband like to go, like, antiquing, and so she goes to the doctors, um, like, to the specialists, I think, Is this before I think it's like if I remember correctly, I think it's before she finds out she has TB, but she knows there's something wrong, so she's going to the specialist, and so she's a little, like she's in her head a little bit, you know? And she goes to this antique shop, and she's looking at some things, and she just looks, right? She just likes to look, and when she finds something, she finds it, and she brings it home. And somewhere, like, in the corner is, like, tipped over is this chaise lounge, and it, like, calls to her. So somehow she brings this thing home. It's got this, like, beautiful, technically, embroidery on it, but it's, like, hideous, you know? Like, it's that heavy, stodgy Victorian furniture. I'm talking a lot about a chaise lounge, but it's important. Um, and she brings it home. So she finally settles into her new viewing situation. She's all wrapped up in her soft, cushy, plush blankets and things that her maid set up for her. Everything is, like, lovely and nice and clean and wonderful, and when she wakes up on the same chaise lounge, but she's in a different body, as the body of a lady named Millie,
What?
who is in Victorian London, um, and M Millie has all of Mellie's thoughts, but Melly is Millie, okay? So, like,
What?
she is stuck on this chaise lounge because Millie also has tuberculosis, and Millie is dying because it's 18 whatever. And she is stuck at, like she's she's basically at the behest of her, like, everything she does has is she's at the mercy of her sister, like, she's got this very, like, dour sister. There's something going on that Melly just can't figure out because it's like she just plopped into this body, right? And she's trying, like, it's like you started a show 8 seasons in, and you're like, "Who are these people? What is going on? Why are they angry?" Um, and you watch her try to figure it out, and you watch her try to think out how to get
What?
back, and you watch her try to communicate with these people to get them to understand, because, like, a doctor comes, like, a pastor, vicar guy comes, like, a couple people come to see her. She has these interact she never leaves the chaise because she can't, she's too weak. All these people keep coming in, and she keeps trying to, like, explain things, but and I really liked this part. She doesn't have Since Millie doesn't have the language for some of the things Millie wants to say, because that language doesn't exist, she can't get Millie to say things.
Oh,
So
wow.
even if Millie tries to
Yeah,
describe things, it's she can only do things with her own vernacular. She cannot,
right.
like, and I love that, because how many times do you have, like, a time traveling thing where somebody, like,
Mhm.
from modern day goes back, and they're gonna be like, "Well, we have cars and computers," and, how would, like, if you quantum leapt into someone's body
Yeah.
in a totally different era with totally different language and things that exist, why, why would they know those
Exactly,
words for you to
exactly.
use their
Oh,
brain
this
to say
is
that?
so interesting.
It was just such an interesting read, and, like, really good for spooky season. It's not perfect, but it's very unsettled because Mellie's so unsettled, and I really like how Lasky does this. She doesn't answer questions that Mellie can't answer for herself, and the
Wow.
ending is kinda great. Lots of question marks there on the ending. It's great. It's really interesting. It's a fun fall read.
Wow. What's that
I
called
had a good
again?
time. The Victorian Chaise Lounge is
That sounds so good.
it's just a good time. This was a good time. I randomly saw somebody mention it, I think in a YouTube video, like a wrap up, or, like, maybe it was even a TikTok, I don't know, and I was like, "You know what? That sounds right up my alley." So I got it.
Wow.
And this
I
author
love
sounds
it.
really interesting. She's, like, a Jewish author and, like, intellectual, but she also wasn't incredibly, like, religious, but really liked religion. I don't know how, it was less about, like, I'm super, like, into Judaism, more about, like, there's value in ritual.
Yeah.
I don't The introduction was really interesting, just to give a little hint of this person I'd never heard of. Um, but I don't know how much she has like, books that she's written, but it was
Well,
really
that one
good.
sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it's a good time. This is Persephone book number 6. I don't know what book they're at now, but This is early in the Persephone's books collection
Yeah.
of stories. So
I
I
love when
I highly
these
recommend it.
publishers do things like that. They come out with these, series of different books following a specific theme or something. I love when they do that.
Oh, yeah, and I've because our little, like, obsessive watch of Miranda Mills, who we both
Mhm.
truly enjoy,
We do.
um, she's always I think she worked with or for Persephone books for a long time, like, in the shop and stuff.
Oh,
So she
okay.
has, like, a very close connection with the this independent publisher, or bookseller or whatever they're supposed to be called. Um, but I really have always been curious about the catalog, and I got one of my friends was reading a different one. It's over here. Guard Your Daughters by Diana Tutton. So I did order that one. I haven't started it yet. But then
Mm,
mentioned this one, and since it was short and it was spooky season, I read it. Um, so it's like now I'm seeing other people talk about Persephone books, and I'm hearing of books that I like, because like, one of the things with
yeah.
Miranda Mills is that we have vastly different reading tastes. I just
Mhm.
aesthetically like to watch her videos.
Yeah.
So, um, I don't really pay attention to, like, the book parts, but
Right.
now that people are referencing things that sound like they really are up my alley, now I'm like, "Hmm, I need to dig a little deeper into this catalog."
I only have one Persephone book, because I wanted to read, Dorothy Whipple. I wanted to give her a try.
Mhm.
So I have a Persephone book. It's called, Someone at a Distance by Dorothy Whipple.
Mm.
Learned about that book from, Alana Estelle on BookTube, who I just absolutely love. She talked about this book a few years ago, and I was like, "I gotta read that damn book," and I finally bought it last year. So, that's the
There I
only one
mean,
that I own.
over here, they're quite expensive. I'm assuming £14 for a book is still expensive, even but over here, I
Yeah,
mean, when I find them, they're like 20, $30 books.
yeah.
So, that is a lot. So it's definitely a treat to have 2 of them.
Mhm. Yep,
So,
yep.
yeah.
Wow, good on
You
you.
wanna read now, right?
I do, I do.
You were sitting there like, "Why won't she shut up about this Shays? It's very important." Important
I
piece of this information.
do wanna read it now. Yeah, I do. Wow.
It's great. It's time
Can't
for
believe it's
house.
October. Yeah.
I know.
All right, yeah, we're nearing to the end of the year. Look, follow us everywhere at TBR Lowdown. Visit our website, tbrlowdown.com, for all the things. To join the
All
book
the
club,
things.
all the things. Join the book club to see our annual reading challenge, 12 Women, 12 Countries. Just go over there and cop a squat and start sifting through that bad boy. And
Or
while
Papa
you're at it,
Squat.
cop a squat. And while you're at it, hey, share this podcast with a friend or two or five. It's
Or 5.
Friday, the 5. Oh, yeah, 5. So, thanks for tuning in. And until next time, we are out of here. Bye.
Bye.